Hey, Forward, Pastor Derek and I want to take a minute just to give you an update on some really important things in the life of our church family. This year, Forward is celebrating 90 years. It's hard to believe that we have been around 90 years as a church family. We're going to spend some time celebrating that later in the year. But when I think about 90 years of a church, there are two things that are required. First of all, the faithfulness of God, and second, the faithfulness of God's people over the years. People who are serious about the mission of Jesus, of making disciples who love God, love others, and serve the world. And now it is our time and our turn to take that baton to live out the mission that Jesus has given to us. And in order to do that, we need to be a multiplying church.
And so in October, we presented to you a vision for the next 3 years called Multiply. And it is really meant to be a catalyst to move the mission of Forward Church into the future as we now enter into this new phase. And so it involves 4 different pieces. It involves building bridges to the gospel. That is reaching out into our community with the good news of Jesus. It involves planting churches for the mission. That's starting new churches in new places to reach new people for Jesus.
Right, and as we reach new people for Jesus and bring people to faith, of course, we have to be serious about discipling them and helping them to grow as followers of Jesus. And in order to do that, there's 2 more elements to multiply. We need to create more leaders and develop more leaders for the mission. If you're reaching more people with the gospel, you need more leaders to be able to disciple those people. And then the 4th part was we need facilities to help make sure that we're able to serve the mission of making disciples of Jesus. And so we want to say thank you to those of you who have already given to Multiply back in our Multiply Christmas offering. You've given already $350,000 towards different projects connected to Multiply during the Christmas season. Now in October, we and the elders told you that we were going to circle back around to you in the first quarter of 2024 with some updates about next steps related to Multiply.
Yeah, and so I guess just to start the update is that we already see Multiply taking place. If you walk into our facility here in Cambridge on any given night, you will see people coming in from the community participating in all sorts of different programs, pickleball, volleyball. If you go to our Kitchener site, you'll encounter people. Our Ingersoll microsite has been reaching out in their community. So much of this has already been taking place. In fact, on Friday nights, we have a program that's called Cambridge Community Table that runs. The volunteers who are there come from our church. They sit down, they have a meal with people from our community, and they just get to share life and share their stories and build relationships with others. That's led to people having the opportunity to share faith and even lead people to Jesus. It's led to people now coming into our worship services and beginning to attend. So that's part of what's going on. But if we're going to continue to see this move forward, we've got some significant challenges with our facilities in Kitchener and Cambridge. And in particular, in our Cambridge site, we came before you with a couple different options of how we were going to go about dealing with that. The first option was that we just did the maintenance that needed to be done here. The second option involved a more extensive renovation project that would see a new front end put on, a new back end, some reworking of the building interiors, plus all of the maintenance things that need to be done. And we came to you and we asked you to help us be a part of discerning in this process, first of all by praying. And so we took the month of November to pray together as a church about how God would lead us. And then we asked you, after praying, to consider how God might be stirring in your heart to contribute and to invest in Multiply. And so we asked you to put in pledges. We have then taken, as the elders board, all of the information that has come in, considered the prayers that have been given up, the pledges that have come in, and have come to a decision that leads us to presenting to you that we're going to move forward with the maintenance option. Now, the thing is, it's still a big ask. We still have some big needs, and we don't want to run away from that reality. We have a building that in its newest parts is 20 years old, in the oldest parts is 35 years old. And you know, if you have a home, that means that some things have to be taken care of if we're going to be good stewards of the resources that God has given us, so that we can not only see the ministry that's happening now continue, but we can see ministry move on into the next season of Forward Church.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also want to share with you today 2 really exciting announcements related to Multiply. Over the last 6 months, God has been really taking us on a journey regarding the potential of starting 2 brand new churches. And I know that at times Derek and I have looked at each other and said, how in the world are we ever going to start two new churches? But God just seemed to be leading us down this path, and nothing seemed to be kind of saying, stop going down the path.
Well, other than us.
Other than us.
What are we doing?
Keep going down this path and seeing what God's saying to us. And I know at times we were thinking, how are we ever even going to afford two new churches in the middle of all of this, especially given the amount that we put in to multiply as a goal for church planting? Well, along the way, God made someone in our community outside of our church, a fellow believer, someone who just started to hear a little bit of this vision and this heart, and they said, man, I'd like to be a part of that. And so they have committed to funding 3 years of one of these two new church options. And that really was just such a God moment for us to say, man, God maybe is opening up a door for us to be able to do these two things. And so that option is related. I'll let you tell the story about what we're going to do for that particular church.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. Pastor Kirk started by talking about our 90 years, and part of the DNA of Forward Church over 90 years has been a heart to reach the nations and our neighbors. And over the past 20 years in particular in our area, the nations have become our neighbors here in Cambridge, in Waterloo region. And we want to see people from all different backgrounds come to know Christ. And so we are going to be bringing on Pastor Khalil and Julia, their sons John Paul and David. They actually, by the time you hear this, have landed in country, are starting brand new in Canada. And they're going to lead an Arabic-speaking congregation with the heart to reach Muslims in Waterloo region for Jesus Christ.
Which is so amazing and so exciting. I can't wait to see how God's going to use that. The second new church site that I want to share with you today is really related to the part of Multiply about raising up leaders and developing leaders for the mission. You know, for the last number of years, we've been privileged as a church to have the ministry of Pastor Andrew Nunn and his family. And they have been such a blessing to Forward over these years. And in the last number of months, God has been taking them on a journey and leading them and calling them to be involved in church planting. And after a whole bunch of prayer and research and time spent with the elders and reviewing, we believe that God has called Pastor Andrew and his family to launch a brand new site of Forward Church in Brant County. And you're going to hear some more information on both of these new church opportunities in the coming days. But we wanted to make you aware of this exciting news that is in front of us today.
Yeah, so as we come to the end of this announcement, we just want to say thank you, Forward Church. Thank you for your faithfulness in praying alongside us. Thank you for the ways that you have continued to contribute towards the mission in both your time, your talents, and your treasures.